hear them from the last moment now in person.
During his broadcast duties during this momentous fight,
first, a look at the champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
The road to the title was frustrating for the Marvelous One. It was back on November 30th, 1979, that Hagler had his first shot at Vito Antuofermo's middleweight crown. In one of the most controversial decisions in the last decade, the fight was ruled a draw. Vito kept the belt, and Marvin walked away empty and bitter. But he used that anger almost 1 year later to fuel a vicious assault on the reigning champion, Alan Minter. Hagler had promised not to leave the decision in the hands of the judges. After 7 long years and 3 brutal rounds, Marvelous Marvin Hagler had won the middleweight title. Yet even in victory, a hostile British crowd hurled bottles rather than accolades at the new champion. With each defense, his image grew. On October 3rd, 1981, in his third defense, Hagler was deadly accurate. He pitched an 11-round shutout of Mustafa Hamsho. The 55 stitches administered to the challenger have now become a grotesque reminder of Hagler's dominance. A year later, Fulgencio Obel Mejias had risen from the depths of a previous loss to the middleweight champion. This deadly right hand may have been Hagler's most devastating one-punch knockout of his career. Fully Obel would not return again. February 11th, 1983, in his 6th defense, a tough Brit, Tony Simpson, fought hard for 6 rounds. But Marvelous Marvin was just too strong. In typical Hagler fashion, the #1 challenger was beaten into the canvas. Then, on November 10th, 1983, Marvelous Marvin Hagler took on the legendary Roberto Duran. It has been said that the champion gave the challenger too much respect. But in the end, after 15 rounds, Hagler had won the unanimous decision. He had his long-awaited recognition as a dominant middleweight champion. But by not winning convincingly, Hagler had left a hint of doubt. His last defense was October 19th, 1984. Remarkably, Mustafa Hamsho had returned as the #1 contender. His reward was more punishment from the champion. This time it lasted only 3 rounds. As the undisputed middleweight champion, Marvelous Marvin Hagler restored his image as one of the most powerful forces in boxing today.
No longer is he called the Motor City Cobra. He has returned as Thomas, the Hitman Hearns.
Thomas Hearns exploded from the Motor City with a ferocity rarely seen in the sport of boxing. As the WBA welterweight champion, his lethal combinations destroyed challengers like Pablo Baez. After 32 consecutive wins, a dream match had been made. The showdown of September 16th, 1981 will live on as a classic. Hearns took the early lead from Sugar Ray Leonard, but in the 6th, the gutsy WBC champion had Thomas in desperate trouble. The tide had turned. Remarkably, Hearns outboxed Leonard in rounds 8 through 12. And here in the 11th, it was Leonard who was struggling to survive with a battered left eye. Then in the 14th, ahead on all 3 scorecards, Thomas Hearns had suffered his first defeat. But after climbing in weight, the Hitman bounced back. It was on February 27th, 1982 that Hearns stopped a tough middleweight, Marcus Geraldo, in the first round. Geraldo had gone the distance with Hagler. And then, 9 months later, Hearns met Wilfred Benitez head-on for the WBC Super Welterweight title. The challenger pressed the defensive champion all night, picking his shots and scoring effectively. In the words of his trainer, Emanuel Stewart, he had outboxed the boxer. Hearns had also fought the later rounds with a broken right hand. But after 15 rounds, Thomas Hearns had won the majority decision. The Hitman had regained his pride and his status in boxing. 7 months later, Hearns stepped up in weight to meet a former light heavyweight contender named Murray Sutherland. Weighing 157.5 pounds, the Hitman once again proved his worth as a boxer. Sutherland later confided that he was hurt in the final round, calling Hearns a powerful middleweight puncher. Thomas called this fight a great test, stating, "It showed I belong in this division." It was hard to disagree. After crushing Duran in 2 brutal rounds, Thomas Hearns again successfully defended his WBC super welterweight title with a 3rd-round knockout of Fred Hutchings. The rebirth of the Hitman has struck fear in the boxing world as Thomas Hearns seeks his 3rd world title. It brings us to the fight. Both champions are peaking and both are determined.
We feel that the jab is going to be the key factor in the fight, the left hand, because we feel that if once we can get Marvin to watch the left jab, get his mind on the left hand, then there will be no problem with getting other shots off.
Hearns' best defense is his offense, because that's the only way that he knows how to fight. In my way, I have to make my defense my best offense. So, and though that I have both ways, because once I get him in trouble, I can change it around. Thomas don't have that ability.
I'm here to show the world that I have the ability, the punching power to get in there and knock out middleweights, light heavyweights, whatever, welterweights, all the way up to the lightweight division. I have that power.
I have my mind focused on one thing, and that's to destroy him. That is to knock him out. If I have the opportunity, if it's there, I'm going to take it.
I think that this fight here will put me in the position to make greatness and put me one step closer to greatness, and which is to win the 4 titles.
That's what I feel. War. That's what's on my mind.
I don't see the fight going 12 rounds.
I've been feeding the faith, and I've been starving the doubt. So there's no doubt in my mind that I can't win this fight or that I won't knock Thomas Hearns out.